Donald Trump's world is crumbling around him. He doesn't understand anything. He's furious all the time. He doesn't understand how viruses work, how vaccines work, how masks work, how Lysol and bleach and isopropyl alcohol work. And he spent his entire weekend tweeting everything from retweeting his own tweets to pushing QAnon conspiracy theories to attacking Barack Obama and the media. At one point, listen to these numbers. Trump sent 52 tweets and retweets in an hour. That is almost one tweet per minute. Trump sent more than 50 tweets over the weekend about the Russia investigation. Trump sent over 100 tweets in a single day. I am not going to subject you to all of these. The content is mostly irrelevant for our understanding of how hard this dude is failing. But check out some of these. A completely out of control man without common sense or inhibitions, retweeting endless conspiratorial attacks on Barack Obama and the FBI for the Russia probe. We have some of them on the screen. The content is mostly irrelevant. These are the rantings of a madman, and that's how they should be interpreted. Continuing about one tweet per minute, sometimes 3 or 4 or even 5 tweets in a single minute. Trump even retweeting his own tweets from hours earlier. We can't possibly go through hundreds of Donald Trump's tweets, nor would it make sense to. The content, again, is not really the focus here, but the gist of this, so that you understand the next wave of propaganda, the gist of what we saw over the weekend, is that Donald Trump is now renewing his claim and his focus on the entire Russia investigation being a calculated illegal conspiracy involving Barack Obama to end his presidency. And unfortunately, and this is why, as I spoke about in the last segment, I fear that Trump is somehow going to figure out a way to get himself reelected. This could be the perfect distraction from the fact that almost 81,000 people as of this morning have already died from coronavirus, and that number continues to climb. Last week, Donald Trump's Justice Department decided they're not going to go forward with the prosecution of Michael Flynn, Donald Trump's disgraced former national security advisor. Understand that Flynn pleaded guilty, and the Justice Department has decided, in what is one of the most overtly corrupt actions of the Trump presidency, hey, we aren't going to move forward. The case against him isn't that strong. He pleaded guilty. So now they are using this absolutely corrupt decision by Trump's Attorney General, William Barr, to try to revitalize the case that the entire Russia investigation was bogus, illegal. It was Obama's illegal plan, and on and on and on. Fox News regularly over the weekend using the term bombshell. So we're going to talk about a bunch of different things here. Number one, I briefly on the Michael Flynn thing. If Donald Trump had pardoned Michael Flynn, it would have been another one of these sick, corrupt elements of Donald Trump's cronyism and nepotism and everything he said that he would root out that he actually embodies. But it would have been less concerning than Trump's attorney general coming in and saying about a case that was built up over years where you achieved a guilty plea, yeah, we're not going to prosecute that anymore. That's a level of corruption involving the Justice Department that is actually far scarier than Trump simply pardoning his friend or his guy. And we'll have more time to talk about that. A few other things that we need to talk about. First of all, 125 tweets in one day, 52 tweets in an hour. People who work fast food, people who teach school, people who work in factories, me, everybody I know who has a job, none of them have time to tweet 52 times in an hour. Even people whose job it is to tweet typically don't tweet 52 times in an hour. This is not normal behavior. It has to be stopped. And there's only one way to stop it. And you know it, and I know it. And it's happening about 5.5 months from now. Number two, the Republican Senate must be punished for this in November. I know that there's a lot of focus on Trump, but if it weren't for the Republican Senate, Trump would have already been removed, or at least could have been removed. Remember that impeachment trial? Last week, I got a call about, what's more important, removing Trump or defeating Republican senators in the fall. you get to vote in both. You don't have to pick, I'm voting in the presidential or I'm voting in the Senate election. It's an all of the above situation. Republicans must be punished. They aren't just complicit, they're actively involved. There's a whole bunch of Republican senators, Martha McSally, Susan Collins, Cory Gardner. We've talked about the whole list of them. They could all be removed in addition to removing Donald Trump. And then lastly, we're in the midst of a 100-year pandemic, and Trump is failing in his handling of that pandemic. And he tweeted more than 100 times in one day. If anyone did anything like this at work, if a firefighter was tweeting while a house was burning down, if an airline pilot was tweeting during an emergency landing, anybody else would be fired from this. They would be removed from their job. Depending on what the costs were of their distraction, they would be criminally prosecuted. And we need to make sure that Trump is held accountable in the only possible way that he's going to be held accountable. I believe part of what might have set Trump off this particular weekend is Barack Obama lashing out at Trump about his handling of coronavirus. And that's what I want to talk about next. Check this out. The first 500 people who see this video and go to davidpakman.com/skill will get a premium membership to Skillshare for 2 months completely free. Skillshare is the online learning community with thousands of classes on almost anything you can imagine, always taught by experts. They have classes on drawing, painting, photography, video editing, web design, running a small business, and much more. I recently took a very interesting class called Simple Productivity, How to Accomplish More with Less, and got a bunch of great personal productivity tips out of it. We should allow ourselves a little time every week to either get creative, keep your brain sharp, learn something new. It's great for mental health, and almost all the classes are under an hour, so it's very easy for someone who's busy to take advantage of it. With Skillshare, you can discover a new passion, explore something you didn't know you would enjoy, but there's also plenty of classes for people with experience, so you can just get better at something you're already good at. And again, the first 500 people who see this video and go to davidpakman.com/skill will get a completely free premium membership for 2 whole months, giving you access to every class Skillshare offers. Check it out. I put the link right underneath this video.